Mark your calendars now for February 17th to the 19th, 2026. Because if you miss this, you'll be playing catch up all year. This is the future unbound. And the most important higher ed marketing and enrollment management conference of 2026. Insights EDU is taking over Fort Lauderdale, where Google, Meta, Reddit, MIQ Digital, and top institutions nationwide will pull back the curtain on what's next. Are you ready to adapt or be left behind? Insights EDU 2026 is where leaders become game changers. Register now at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025. EdUp Experience has brought you powerful conversations with more than 400 college presidents and higher ed leaders, over 1,000 episodes and counting. Now, we're inviting you to join us in shaping the future of higher ed podcasting. For just $5.99 a month, you lock in that rate for life, but only if you sign up before December 31st, 2025. As a supporter, you'll get ad-free early access to episodes. Prices go up after December 31st, but your rate never will. Visit edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com. Click support the show and join our community today.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. This is Dr. Joe Salustio back with you on another episode with a guest today that I would say we did some scheduled gymnastics. There's just a few guests, and I said this to my guest that I'm about to bring on. Sometimes there's just a few people here and there where we schedule, somebody can't make it, we reschedule, that can't happen, we reschedule again and reschedule. It takes about 4 or 5 reschedules, but we finally get it done. We're relentless here at EdUp. When somebody says, yes, we're going to get you on the podcast, we want to tell you a story, no matter what it takes. And this story is a story of newness, if you will, of freshness. Imagine if, this is an imagine if story. Imagine if you had a blank slate and you could create a higher education experience from scratch. What would that look like? Given everything you know about technology, about the way we buy things, about the way we like to learn, what would it look like? Well, that question was out there, and this person stepped up to answer it. And we're going to find out the answer to this question. Ladies and gentlemen, she is Dr. Sasha Thackaberry Voinovich. She is president at New State University. Sasha, welcome to the mic. How are you?
I am doing well, and thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun already.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what's fun. What's fun is getting you to answer this question of newness that I posed. New State University. Somebody out there is going, I've never heard of New State University.
Yeah.
So you've got a level set for us right now. What is New State University? How was this created? What is this all about? I don't even know where to start. You start.
Okay, so New State University is essentially answering that question that you asked earlier, which is, if you could start with a blank sheet, what would you build for the future, right? Unencumbered by the past. And I think that's what the challenge was. How do we make education as effective, as workforce relevant, and as affordable as possible? And those things are truly only possible now because of the technology behind it, right? And so we're able to leverage AI from the very beginning to create something that meets a very specific mission for a very large group of people who actually need this education.
Amazing.
Okay, so let's get into the details just a little bit. All right, so you wake up on Saturday morning and you go, no, I think I'm going to start a university today. Then you find out how freaking hard that is, by the way, just to get, to go through all the motions for accreditation. You know this because your previous career was, you were like an online learning guru at LSU, I think, right? Or some.
Yeah,
LSU
yes,
online?
I've been at several places, yes.
Yeah. So you know how this all works. So it's not easy. It takes investment. It takes time, investment in time and money, a dream. You've got to have market yourself in a very crowded space now, although it's becoming a whole lot less crowded lately as institutions close. That's a whole nother story. Why do this now? Why go?
Yes. So I have been in a lot of different environments, right? I started my career in K-12. I've worked at community colleges. I've worked at Southern New Hampshire University. I led online at LSU. I've worked at Pearson, at D2L, at SkillsWave. And there was nothing that did the things that I thought needed to be done without all of the gunk. And really it was John Baker's fault who made me sort of think of this because he is a big proponent of a PLG motion, like a product-led growth approach. And as I was diving into that in a previous position, it really, like, it needs to be applied to higher ed like nobody's business. It's all about removing friction. And you know this too. So much of our procedures in higher ed are still essentially designed to keep people out, not to bring people in, right? There's a whole bunch of hoops you have to jump through. Like, can you imagine if you went to the store, or if Amazon online made you like apply for the ability to be able to buy a shirt, and you wouldn't find out for 2 weeks if you were able to buy the shirt, and then you had to go into debt to buy the shirt. Like, that's what we make people do to get an education. And so yeah, essentially one day I woke up and I was like, if I could do something really impactful, we would build something fundamentally different that was so radically affordable that anyone could do it without debt. Like, I am so anti college debt, it's not even funny.
Let's go.
So when you say, I don't even know where to go. Usually I'm not speechless because I do this like almost for a living. I talk, but I'm.
It sounds a little crazy, but
yeah,
it's not crazy.
And I'm jealous, and I'm intrigued because it's like, you know, I literally go out and I talk about this to universities and conferences all across the world. In fact, I was in Cancun last week at our Latin America user conference at Lucian, and I was saying the same thing. And I wrote this article about the skip intro generation, right? Where we're on Netflix and we can't even wait the 45 seconds to get through the intro. It just says skip, right? And my wife, I swear, if she had a pen, she would poke me and say, skip it until, because the intro becomes so inconvenient because we're all about maximizing time and for ease and for, everything around us is subscription based.
Right.
How is this model different than what we all understand in higher education? Tell me the tactical parts of it where you say it's radically different. What does that mean?
So it's a fundamental experience shift. It is just like you would experience something else from a consumer standpoint. Is you can come to our website, apply, get accepted, and start university the same day. It is fully competency based. So if you have skills in an area, you can accelerate faster. If you have a vacation coming up and you don't want to deal with it, you can go slower. And it literally unlocks things one at a time. So there's no wandering. There's no extra choices. I always say by the end of the day, I can't even pick what I want to eat for dinner. I'm done with too many choices. And so that's what we do. You pick a path, you're on the path. You can proceed as fast or as slow as you need to. You can engage with whatever resources you need to, but it is a very streamlined experience from beginning to end. There's no such thing as like, I was talking to, actually, our first student graduated with a graduate certificate. Yes. And she was saying at the end, it was so easy because she just asked for her transcript and certificate and got it. There's no such thing as going through extra hoops or applying for graduation. And we can do all of this because we are using AI. And we started using AI, like, this was literally a nights and weekends brainstorm. And we came up with ways to use AI to actually make it possible. And I think a lot of people cannot wrap their minds around the fact that the university structures in 10 years are going to be fundamentally different. There's going to be different types of universities. They are going to be highly specialized in a way in which they're not now. And this meets a very specific need for a group of people who need to have credentials and be skilled in specific areas.
There's somebody listening right now saying this to themselves.
This is lunacy.
Yes.
This is not, but this can't be higher education, Sasha. This sounds, like it's just being made easy, and it can't possibly be rigorous. And, you're taking out all of the academic integrity that makes higher education great, and blah, 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 blah. How do you address that?
Yeah, so the rigor is for real, right? And we all know people who can devote significantly less time for a course and knock it out of the park, and other people who just need to spend more time on something. And we're just empowering them to do that. So there is nothing, and I was in the economics course today in our MBA. It is rigorous. It is legit rigorous. But also accessible. It doesn't have a bunch of junk in it. We don't make you go to different places to find different things. It's a simple, streamlined learning path. We take all of the gunk out of it. And that's one of the things that I do think people think we are slightly insane, is because they keep thinking university the way I experienced university, or even the way, SNHU or WGU or ASU does online. No. That's not our university. We are fundamentally different. It's AI leveraged. We are using automation for so many things. And we're also working differently. Like how you work in a truly AI first way is a force multiplier. And that's a competitive advantage right now. There are going to be businesses that realize that and businesses that don't. And we're leveraging it to build a university.
When you say pull the gunk out,
yes.
You said it twice, pull the gunk out. I'm like, oh, I know what that means. Like, I'm just, and it's like one of those words. And I just imagine somebody with a shovel just shoveling mud, right? Like all this build up that has taken place over time. When you say that, is there anything in particular that you would point out to say this is the kind of the gunk that we're talking about that a student doesn't have to go through?
Yes. So I would say probably 70-80% of the admissions process. And I have lived this from the inside, right? There are certain admission standards that you have, but then there are certain procedures that you have for exceptions or exemptions. And when you go and you look at those things, a student appeals admissions to get into a master's program, their GPA is so close, but it has to go to the graduate school, then it has to go to the college, then it has to go to a faculty member for approvals, right? And you're just waiting. The student's sitting there, just waiting the whole time. And guess what? Like 95% of the time, if their GPA is within a certain range of the standard, they will provide an exception, let that student in. Well, then why don't we just do it automatically? Why are we making the student wait for weeks when we know that 95% of the time it will be completely fine? So you still have your standard, but you can automate your exceptions. There is nothing that says that you have to make it painful and lengthy. Meanwhile, that student could be gone, right? So when we talk about how we're going to get to a sustainability and growth, economic growth at our price point, it's because of things like that. We're not, so many normal institutions, enrollment funnels are sieves. They are just letting out interested customers at every single point in that funnel. And that's what a PLG motion removes. You can come, you will get provisionally admitted. We will double check your transcripts after you get started. Get started.
Tell them like it is.
This is fascinating because over time, well, first of all, let me just say that the industry, as you know, is designed to be bureaucratic. It's designed for slowness. It's designed to stifle innovation. That's why there's so many committees. And I mean, anybody that looks at the structure of higher ed and says that it was designed for speed, you would never do the things that we do if it was designed to iterate and be innovative. It's not. It's designed for tradition holding. It's designed to hold what we've done before.
Yes.
And then you put in something that's new. Some people say it's easier to start something with AI from the ground up than it is to implement it. It's got to be, right? Because
100%.
It becomes everything is AI forward. So I'm guessing every time you go and do something, it's like, okay, We have AI. We're going to be using AI for this. How do we implement it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also, I think how you work has so much to do with it, because if we do not work well with AI, we are not going to be effective in the future. So we have to work that way, and we have to teach other people how to use these tools to work that way as well. I mean, in our CRM, just perfect example, even in the past 6 months, like you would go in there before, you sort of had to logic things out. You still have to logic things out, but now you can literally just write in, what do I want my CRM? What workflow do I want it to create? It won't be perfect, but it'll save you hours and hours and hours of time. Or even the level of technical knowledge you have to be able to do something with integrations. I built an integration the other day. Like, I've never written code in my life. I mean, I can copy and paste things, right? But it helps you be a force multiplier, which is why we have such a small team, but we're able to build an actual entire curriculum, now very efficient inventory, for a university in content that is actually going to get people jobs. Like, that is the whole goal, is let's get people upwardly mobile jobs, not subsistence jobs. Let's get them on career tracks, and let's do it without encumbering them with years of debt.
So what kind of courses? I mean, we're talking about, like, I can transfer these courses somewhere after I take them. Are they getting me credit? Are they not getting me credit? Yep. Because there's so many, you know, when we start talking about different types of universities, it's like the Wild West, and you don't know who's doing what. Tell me, what would I expect if I take a course there? How would I think about this as a student? Do I get credit, and can I take that credit?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're based out of Utah, and we are operating in 9 states as a university. We are about to launch our professional development studio, which we will be able to have in all 50 states. And our ecosystem is entirely stackable. So you can come take a single course, build it to a certificate, build it into a degree. So you get incremental credentials along the way. We also have partnerships for transfer credit. So if somebody comes to us, starts with us, decides this is maybe competency-based education isn't for everybody, right? Maybe they need more support or more structure. We have partners that they can transfer that credit into. That was really important to me. The accreditation process, as you know, is a process that takes time. You need to have student data to do it. And so, yeah, I mean, it's like legit
accreditation too. Are you going for?
So it has been explained to me by our amazing consultants. It is sort of like Fight Club. When you are engaging in a quality process, you're not supposed to talk about the specifics of that. I will say, broadly speaking, huge proponent of actual quality metrics and transparency. I think it's really important that students know what they're getting into. And so we value those processes very deeply. And we've gotten the question, actually, a fair amount, because we are going out seeking our first round funding. And we do get the question, well, why didn't you buy a failing college? That's a question we always get. Why didn't you buy? And I know, I saw your face. I'm like, why would you want to do that?
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Yeah. So you're buying yourself technical debt, process debt, policy debt, faculty contracts, programs that you don't want, a substantive change thing. God knows what's under the covers in terms of financials and liability, and like you don't know what you're buying. And
Surprise.
So I think yes, right. And so I think starting fresh was absolutely the way to go. But we also have 3 other institutions we're working with for articulation agreements, so we're going to have even more.
What's interesting about the accreditation process, and I won't go into too much detail because I know almost all of the accreditation presidents. There is a desire for innovation within their universities they serve, and also some challenge when the innovation is far beyond what anybody else is doing. Because you think about assessing a model like this, who the heck, what kind of peer review are you going to have come in and assess this? You'd have to have a way different way to think. But what about cost? I mean, what is this going to cost me, Sasha? I mean, how do I think about what's my total program cost? What is, am I paying over an academic year? Tell me how this works.
Yep. It's fully subscription based. So there's a max amount.
Wait a second. What did you just say?
Yeah. So it's a monthly subscription. And tell your friends and family. Yeah, it's $300 a month. So if you want to give up a few Starbucks and if you're willing to hold off just another few months before you get, a car upgrade, it is radically affordable, and it is also a financial model that is really going to work because of how we built it.
So wait a minute. Let me see if I understand this. You're telling me that I would pay a subscription of $300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I would take the course, basically go through your competency map, demonstrate my competency.
Yep.
I want to take vacation. So do I turn off my subscription?
Yeah, you can pause it. You can pause your subscription anytime, just like anything else. We want to be really transparent about it. It's a pet peeve of mine that I've ended up paying for subscriptions that I've forgotten about. We even send you reminders. You're not going to forget about this one.
AI-enabled reminders, I'd bet.
Say what?
AI-enabled reminders, too.
Oh, yeah. That is very rotisserie chicken. You can set it and forget it for sure. But it's meant to be highly affordable. We have an MBA you can finish in a year. I mean, if you're a professional in your field, potentially way less than a year. But we have something for everyone. So if someone wants an AI certificate, but they also want to finish their undergraduate degree, that's awesome, because we have multiple AI certificates that stack into our undergraduate degree, and we have block transfer as well. So we're also not doing that thing where, like, if your algebra credit was 10 years ago as opposed to 8 years ago, we're going to make you retake algebra.
Wait, my favorite. Let me do my favorite. We really need a faculty member to weigh in on this one because the learning outcomes are not completely aligned, but that faculty member is out on summer vacation, so we're going to have to wait 2 months to get an answer on that.
If you think you can coast into 2026, think again. Insights EDU is coming February 17th to the 19th, 2026, and it's taking over Fort Lauderdale for a beachfront experience. It's the event that will flip your marketing and enrollment strategy on its head. 3 days, over 65 expert speakers, and over 40 sessions. Zero fluff. Just powerhouse strategies from the most anticipated platforms like Google, Reddit, Meta, MIQ Digital, and the most forward-thinking schools in the nation. You'll get the real wins, the bold ideas, and the hands-on tactics to grow programs, drive engagement, and create the student experience today's modern learner demands. The question is, are you ready to lead, or will you get left behind? Mark your calendar, bring your team, and secure your spot at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15, 2025. See you in Fort Lauderdale. The EdUp experience has delivered over 1,000 episodes with higher ed leaders from around the world. Now you can support the show for just $5.99 a month and lock in that rate for life when you join before December 31st, 2025. You'll enjoy ad-free early access to episodes. Go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com. Click support the show and secure your lifetime rate today.
Yes. Or I was talking to actually a different college president the other day who was saying, what is this asking about a syllabus, right? Sometimes you'll get a request for a syllabus from like 20 years ago. How is a student supposed to go get a syllabus from 20 years ago? And I do think this is a big gap between ed tech, VCs, and institutions, that they don't understand what is actually keeping universities from having customers. Like,
it's
they're keeping
math.
themselves, right?
$300 a month. I mean, my mind is blown here, right? By the way, full disclosure, Sasha and I have talked before, and she told me about this model. I actually use it in my presentations, and because I talk about change a lot, and I say, I know of a university that does this, and it's $300 a month, and everybody goes, yeah, right, whatever. He's just telling lies. So now I gotta interview Sasha because it's like I need the validation that I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
But it breaks brains in the moment when I tell this, and I go, a fully competency-based model, AI-enabled, AI forward, $300 a month, in and out whenever you want. immediately people just they can't wrap their mind around it, right? You got the financial people going, how would I even how would I forecast and track my financial model? You have the academic people going, well, retention, your retention, this, retention. It just messes with everything that we know to be true, which is all time-based.
Yep.
You can't think that way, right?
Right. Well, it's interesting because this happened to the rest of the world like 20 years ago.
Wait for it. Yeah, exactly.
It was called SaaS.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called like Spotify. Like literally everything else in your world has a continuity to it. And your relationship as a customer, I have toilet paper just show up at my house, right? This is not revolutionary when you talk to someone about it. Just makes sense. If you're not in our field and you're talking to someone about it, they're like, oh, that's cool. You mean I don't have to do all that other stuff? No, you don't have to do all that other stuff. And there's also this whole conversation in higher ed today about like college versus micro credentials versus, certifications and what has value and wasn't. And it is the wrong conversation. The right conversation should be, how do we make high quality education for actual jobs affordable to everyone in a way in which, and there are a couple of really cool initiatives in this space, but all learning counts obviously is one of them. So a lot of people interested in making sure that your learning can be collected and can count. Because there's that old joke. I don't know if it's actually a joke. I think it's funny. But if you have 119 undergraduate credits, what do you have? Nothing. If you have 120, you have a bachelor's degree. Well, that's ridiculous, right? And I have yet to talk to a single person in our field who thinks that's good. Like no one is like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. We should completely do that to students. Nobody thinks that. But most institutions just can't change fast enough. And so when you look at that, you're like, okay, well, let's build it. Well, people would think this was insane a couple of years ago. And in fact, like, a fair amount of conversations that I have on a weekly basis. But, Sam Altman was like, you can just go build the thing. Go build the thing. So we're building the thing.
Do you feel any pressure? Because this is, well, to your point, it makes so much sense, but no one else is doing it. And is no one else doing it because it can't be done? Is nobody else doing it because they can't think outside of the structures that we've, you and I and so many others, we were trained to think within the structure. Yes. This is the structure. You operate within the structure. If you want to innovate, you're innovating within the structure that exists. So you always had guardrails around you. And so do you feel any pressure to make this work, to change the trajectory of higher ed?
So I would say sort of, and that's sort of a wishy-washy answer, but it's a little bit both and. So I feel pressure to make this work because I know it's going to work. I know a lot of entrepreneurs say that and think that, but this is absolutely needed. There is a market for this, and this thing is good. There's nothing like it. It is going. But seriously, there's nothing like this. This is going to work. You know why else I know it's going to work? Because we launched a friggin' university in 9 months, right? We created a whole curriculum. We got faculty. We got approved. We got our operations in order. We built classes. We built automations. We got everything set up and we launched. So I know it's possible, right? And that was with zero outside funding, zero, not a cent. So as we go to build this and we go and we get investors, this thing is just going to sing. So do I feel pressure in that way? I feel like in control of my own destiny because it absolutely is going to work. Do I think that is also useful to the rest of higher ed to have us here floating on the outside? Absolutely. Because edge cases and outliers, they push the center of the bell curve, right? So having extreme examples is going to be able to empower everyone else to say, oh, that thing worked over there. We could do maybe not all of that, but we could do part of that, right? Anybody can start part of this at any time. Now, there are other folks out there starting universities. Most of them have, found a way to get some capital maybe at the front end and are taking some time to sort of figure those components out. We are taking the opposite route, which is we wanted to get in market, innovate, improve as we go. We are going to build to what both the market needs and what someone needs to be successful post this, because we are essentially in a delayed gratification business. Yeah. We're a lot more like selling a gym experience, right? Because you have to put forth the effort. Yeah. So it's not, it's not just I'm buying this thing, it's sustained effort over time. But, there's a lot of accomplishments that happen between here and you getting the degree. There are stackable certificates at every single point.
I would encourage everybody to go take a look at your advisory board if you want to know how many people believe in this idea. If you look at it, it's kind of a who's who in higher ed, because you go, I want to be associated with something like this. I want to be a part of it. I want to help advise. If you couldn't get anybody on your advisory board, that would be a pretty good sign that there's questionability in the model. But the fact is your advisory board is like higher ed muscle.
They're pretty awesome. And I do have to say, I know the best people, but I think part of the reason that people are involved is because they also know there's all this gunk in the system. And they know if you remove that gunk from the system, the financial aid process in and of itself, people understand how expensive that is to maintain. The regulations, the technical systems, the people behind it. There is just an army of people behind accepting money from the federal government. Yep. Right? And so when I say we're going to do this without federal aid, and that's how we're going to get the costs so low, people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. People who have lived this understand that that's possible, or we're going to get our CAC down because we are not going to have all of this craziness in the enrollment cycle, because it's just going to be get started the same day. If you've lived that pain of trying to get students accepted into an institution and you see them leaving, instead of just getting them admitted, you understand there is space to tighten all this stuff up. And that's just what we did. And other people, they see it. Can every institution do this? No. Should every institution do this? No. Do we still need research? Absolutely. Am I teaching engineers? Also, no. I don't want buildings. I want buildings that are built by people who have deep experience in that singular thing, monofocus. Right. We are teaching incredibly powerful generalists across some very specific fields.
There was big news not too long ago. I can't remember what country, but it was the world's first AI university. It was Saudi Arabia or somewhere in the Middle East or something like that. And it was a big deal because I think outside of the United States, and I know this because I have access to people outside of the U.S. in my day job role, there's greater excitement around the possibility of how AI can change the business model. Not to say that there aren't people in the United States that don't feel that, but I think there's greater recognition that it will happen faster outside of the United States. And so there was a lot of fanfare around that, the first AI-based university. And I said, well, I know one. Do you think that it just doesn't hit right in the U.S. because we're not ready? Because I don't know. Why aren't you getting the same oomph? And maybe you're here because of that, because EdUp will help you get a little bit of oomph too. But
we definitely, we need the oomph. To be fair, we have spent $0 on marketing. We wanted, our most important thing was getting it built so we could get students in courses. And also we're not trying to be the sexiest thing out there. We want to be the Trader Joe's of higher education. High quality, simple, affordable. You can still get your really awesome bread there, but you don't have 50 versions of bread. You have this type of sourdough or that type of sourdough. Pick a sourdough, right?
So the takeaway is pick a sourdough.
Pick a sourdough.
Would you just pick one? Just so you know, and this is a true story. When I'm not lying, last week I was in Latin America. I gave a presentation. I talked to the Latin America community that is also very slow to change. Their models, they've got a public model. It's publicly funded. There's no Title IV financial aid. Obviously, that's U.S. based, but they have a lot of regional and governmental issues. And I was telling him, I said, I know this university. I said, this is what it does. And so I got off the stage and I sat down next to my colleague and he goes, what was the name of that university? And I said, it's New State University. 10 minutes go by, we're all listening. He comes and he taps me on the shoulder. I'm sitting right next to him. He goes, this is freaking awesome. I had no idea that something like this existed. I think I'm going to tell my whole team we all need to take a course here.
Yeah, actually tell them to all enroll because then they can help us make sure we truly did get all of the gunk out of the gears.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll take a course. Maybe I love getting rid of gunk.
Come do it.
You know? But I mean, this is just so cool, Sasha, what you've done here. I mean, what do you want to accomplish with this model? 100,000 students, 20,000, 1,000. Have you thought about, what that trajectory looks like and where you want to be?
Yes. And we have a very specific plan around launches of different. So we have different essentially product lines from the same inventory aimed at different ICPs. And so our first couple of years look like, so I had the pleasure of talking to a really cool guy, by the way, who also does things at a very international global scale, who just shared with me some very interesting like global data. And so we have these specific goals around, I'm not gonna say them out here because I intend to blow them away. There are the internal goals that we
podcast live. You're not going to tell us all of your.
No. So the most challenging enrollments, he said, it'll take your first 100 will be the hardest. And then, a few hundred after that, and you get close to 1,000. Now you're starting to cook with gas. And so we pinpointed out where we want each of those to happen. We know we're going to likely see greater adoption from an undergraduate standpoint, year 3, for specific quality processes and timelines for things. And so, hundreds of thousands of learners. We anticipate that by year 6, we will have broken 100,000 with 45,000 concurrent students. And I think that is conservative, honestly. I think that there is a whole generation also of young people who are going to be growing up in a totally different environment when it comes to higher ed, and they don't have time to waste. And so many people are like that already in their entire day. They don't have time to waste. Right? And you can start college today.
I want to say I like that point. I'm going to double down on that because I think, you see the reports about how Americans are slowly continuing to question the value of higher education in general. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that it's ever been, I think it is about the what a little bit when you put partisan politics in it, but you take the politic stuff out just because that's not. It's always been about the what. And or it's not been about the what. Like, I know it's important, but it's how you want me to do it that I'm not on board with.
Yes.
Like, why do I have to do it this way? Why, everything else around the student is customizable, personalized, by choice. It's like a choose your own adventure kind of world. Yet this industry that says, this is the way, this is your how. And you go, you know what? I don't see value in that how. I get the what. I want those skills. I just want to try to find a different way to get them. You're solving this huge, I think you're going to help restore the value in higher education because you're offering a different how. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. And I think that, again, we're seeing this sort of pendulum swing around how people talk about higher ed. But if you actually look at the data behind it, skills-based hiring has not moved the needle that much on being able really to hire. Yes. And then there's all this disruption coming with AI, and we are going to see a difference between employability of people who can use AI and people who can't. And I also think it's an opportunity for people who maybe haven't been able to sort of step into new and different ways of doing things, those people have an opportunity to get ahead now in a different way. But this is not think of all the things people hate about higher ed. It takes too long. It's too expensive. It's not workforce relevant. What did we build? Time variable, radically affordable, workforce relevant.
I love it. When's your next start date? Is it coming up soon?
Actually, right now, so it's 4:44 p.m. as we are
6
taping
minutes.
this. Yes.
In 6
The
minutes.
7 minutes it will take you to fill out the application, and then your start
And then you
date.
begin.
Yeah.
Right? So you're there when I'm ready. When we say
Amen.
meet students where you're at, people say either meet students where you are or meet students where you're at. I think you can't end the sentence with an at, but you're not supposed to. So if you meet
Proper
students,
grammar.
yeah, proper grammar. But if you're going to meet students where they are, and I talk about this all the time. I'm like, if you were truly student first, like we always say, every institution, everybody I talk to, everybody says we're student first. And I say that is not true. It can't be true. Fundamentally, it can't be true because you, if the student says, I want to start today, you say, no, we can't do that. You got to wait 2 months or whatever.
Right.
So realistically, student first means when the student wants it. And you're telling me I can get it when I want it. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's data around that's how students make enrollment decisions, right? If you look at the top 4 reasons people pick an institution, and even a lot of this data actually applies to certificates, short form credentials. It's how, like, can they get through the process fast enough that the institution that gets back to them the first is preferred as a choice? And a lot of those experience things, they are signals to the student. Can you depend on me to get you through this? Can you depend on me? Because it's work on their part. They are purchasing work. That's what students are doing. They are purchasing work for themselves for the promise of a future payoff. And most humans psychologically are not so good at delayed gratification. This is not a thing we excel at as a species. And so why don't we make people take their time and energy on the learning, not on the stuff around it?
I love it.
And that's why we have an AI coach, by the way, because we love our faculty. They cannot be at the keyboard just hovering, waiting for a student's instantaneous question. So we have an AI coach in every single one of our courses that can answer questions that students have as they go.
Yeah. Where's the syllabus? How do I access this? Where do I get that? I mean, those are the most common questions. It's never, how do I do this assignment? It's, I can't find where the assignment is listed.
Well, and we took that away too, because the whole course is a learning path. It's literally a learning path, and it keeps track of where you are, and it's gamified. It gives you points when you log in, when you complete a lesson. There's like a leaderboard. It's a whole thing.
Man, oh man. If you're not listening to this and loving it, I don't know what to tell you, because this is awesome. Sasha, we like to leave 2 questions to every guest gets the same 2 questions in the episode. Number 1, what else do you want to say about New State University? Open mic, anything you want to add?
Wow. Just like take a shot, right? Take a shot at us. Come and check it out. Tell people about it. This is our marketing. Thank you so much, Joe. Word of mouth. It really is like our reputation is going to be how we take care of our students and how it works. So go tell a friend. Tell a friend about New State, that we exist. Most people don't even think it's possible, and it is. So that's the first thing I would say is it's possible. Go do it now.
What do you see for the future of higher education?
Oh, geez. I do think there's going to be increased specialization. I think especially with our demographic situation for public universities, they're going to have to specialize, especially here in Northeast Ohio. I'm in driving distance of probably 6 public institutions that have very similar overlapping programs. So I think a lot of institutions are going to need to specialize. And higher ed has got to be clear on ROI. We have got to be clear on ROI for our students, for our alumni, frankly, for our businesses, right? Because otherwise people are going to just go build this for themselves. And it's so much better if we build it together.
I love this episode. I love the model. I love the idea. I love the execution. I love that it's updated and future thinking. It's engineered for the future rather than us trying to catch up to the present, which is what a lot of institutions are doing. Just try to catch up to the president. Like we're arguing whether we should use AI, what AI for teaching and learning. And it's like students go out and on day one, the employer says, give me an example of when you used AI in your courses. And the student goes, I was too afraid to use it. It's like, out.
No, I just heard, true story. I just heard about a student who had graduated from a public institution in marketing and could not name a single thing they had intentionally used AI for in marketing.
It's a shame.
No, it really is. You should ask for your money back at that point. In this day and age, ridiculous.
Well, $300 a month, quality education, CBE. This is a promised land, ladies and gentlemen, a model for the future. It's not going to be for everyone, but it's going to be for a heck of a lot of people.
That's what we think. Thank you, Joe.
The one and only Dr. Sasha Thackaberry Boynovich, president at New State University. Look him up. Go try a course. You won't regret it. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp'd.
Attention, higher leaders. It's time to shake up your marketing and enrollment strategy. Join us at Insights EDU, February 17th to the 19th, 2026 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a beachfront experience and the best higher education marketing and enrollment management conference. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025. Register now at insightsedu.com. The future unbound is at Insights EDU 2026. Support the EdUp experience for just $5.99 a month and lock in that rate for life. You'll get ad-free early access to episodes. But hurry, price goes up after December 31st, 2025. Visit edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and click support the show.